this spar to tighten.
In the design process, when we're trying to determine just how we're going to build all of these parts, the build team plays a major role, sitting around a table thrashing out just what the process will be. We can be a bit more focused where we push the tech, so the mast, the wing, the spar. If we make that heavy, it steals the riding moment, the stability that you need to generate power.
This here, we've got a bit of pre-preg here, which they'll be using this at Southerns on the rig for this land yacht. We'd usually use this because you get perfect resin ratios out of it. We're not using it in our manufacturing here of the hulls because we're trying to keep the costs down and keep it on a short timeline. So it's pretty easy to use, you know, it comes with plastic on both sides, pre-impregnated with resin, and it's not until it gets hot that the resin will flow, and it's almost like laying Duracell or something. It's a unidirectional fibre, so the fibre runs this way on a whole sheet, usually 500 wide, and then we'll just make up our cloth with that by 0s, 90s, 45s or whatnot.
In the main fuselage body, carbon composite was clearly the right choice for our objectives, and we opted to go for a wet laminate instead of pre-preg. We could afford to take a smaller weight hit to be able to save money and time.
What we've got here is our dry fibre, which we have been using typically on the land yacht for pretty much everything in the yard here. We have a pretty good indication of our resin to cloth ratio. The drier the better, because otherwise it just gets weaker, more resin. It moulds into shapes really nicely. It's just more user friendly, and it'd take a quarter of the time to lay up a shell out of this as it would pre-preg.
So when you're looking at wet laminate, within that you can infuse the carbon or you can hand laminate it and pull a vacuum over it. Using Infusion is always really tempting when you're sitting around a table. It really is the devil in the detail, and having that large knowledge of how to carefully set up the whole process. We're trying to apply it to one-off parts, so you've got to be pretty good at it to get it right first time.
It's a bit of a dark art, Infusion. It can go wrong, and it can seriously go wrong, but the processes that we've been working on over the last 15 years or so, we've got it pretty close to getting right every time. There's definitely benefits in having things infused. It is a heavier way of laminating. Something like this for the land speed record, where weight's not a massive issue, you can infuse a lot of these more complicated, heavier laminate parts. You know?
It's nice to have a real depth of experience within our build team, so we can draw upon all forms of manufacture. We really can pick the process that best suits the part.